Hola, hoy vamos a repasar, review, cómo se hacen los mandatos informales afirmativos con tú. That means today we're going to be reviewing how you make affirmative to commands. That means bossing around, giving advice to, ordering around, or telling people what to do that are your friends or personas de la misma edad, people of the same age. Para comenzar, mandatos informales afirmativos, ¿no? Son affirmative to commands. Se usan los mandatos para dar órdenes. And that means to give orders, to tell people what to do. Los mandatos informales se usan con personas con quienes usas la forma tú. So you would write or you would speak a to command with someone who you would consider a friend, someone your same age, someone with whom you would be familiar. Para formar los mandatos afirmativos de tú, usamos una forma del verbo que es exactamente como la forma él, ella, usted del verbo en el presente. And this was from last year. You guys learned this. Hablar is habla because it's the el form of the verb. Comer is come. Escribir, escribe. Cerrar, cierra. Dormir, duerme. So, tengan cuidado de los mandatos, de los verbos que cambian de bota. The verbs that change as a stem changer. Verbs that are E to IE changers will still change. Verbs that are E to I changers will still change that way. And verbs that are O to UE will still change that way. Again, present tense only. Por ejemplo, la mamá le dice a su niño, habla con tu abuela, talk with your grandma. Tu tío dice a tu primo, your uncle would maybe tell your cousin, come las verduras porque son saludables. Tu profesor te dice, your teacher tells you, escribe el ensayo, write the essay. El pasajero en el auto dice, the passenger in the car, maybe their hair is blowing around and they say, cierra la ventana, close the window. And la mamá le dice al niño, the mom tells her son, duerme más, sleep more. Ten cuidado, hay 8 verbos irregulares, okay? There are 8 irregular verbs. Tenemos que tener mucho cuidado aquí. Por ejemplo, el verbo decir es di, hacer haz, ser sé, ir ve, poner pon, tener ten, salir sal, and venir ven. Para escribir, di would be tell or say. Poner, put or place something somewhere, like pon los zapatos en el piso. Hacer is do or make. Tener, have. Or even be, like ten cuidado, be careful. Sé is be, and I'm going to write this one on the other side para que haya más espacio, ¿no? Be, like, sé feliz, be happy, or sé simpático, be nice, or no, yeah, so we'll stick with those for right now. Salir, sal, leave, like, get out of here right now, sal de aquí. Ve, ir, go, like, ve a la clase de la señora Tobixen para mí, like, go there for me. And ven aquí, come here. And you'll hear it used with aquí and acá, like ven aquí, ven acá. Okay, jóvenes. Para seguir, vamos a movernos a la parte del fondo de la página número 1 de los apuntes, ¿no? En el paquete. Para recordar, to remember, a veces es más fácil memorizar cosas si tenemos un truco o una pista, ¿no? Sometimes it's easier to memorize things if you have a trick or a hint. Separating these 8 commands in this way, if you're into movies and you know who Vin Diesel is and Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you say the commands in this way, it might help you remember them. Ben, di, sal, as, ten, ve, ponce. Like Vin Diesel has 10 weapons. Ben, di, sal, as, ten, ve, ponce. I don't know if that's going to help you or not. I prefer to memorize di, as, se, ve, sal, ten, pon, ven. It's up to you, whatever works, but these will need to be memorized los 8 verbos irregulares, ¿no? Los 8 verbos irregulares. Es súper importante que memoricen estos 8 verbos irregulares. Hay 8 verbos irregulares, o así, ¿no? Memorize them that way, like di a se ve, ponten salven, o de esta manera, ven, di salas, ten, ve, ponse. Whatever works for you guys. Bueno, vamos a seguir a la segunda página de los apuntes. Ok, jóvenes, vamos a ir a la próxima página. Going to page. Para terminar, ahora vamos a hablar de los mandatos afirmativos con pronombres, es decir, affirmative to commands with pronouns. To commands with pronouns. And these are only affirmative to commands today. That means these are commands that you're going to use to say, do something. We'll get to the negativos next class. So, número 1 dice, con los mandatos afirmativos with affirmative commands, los pronombres reflexivos are reflexive pronouns, indirectos are IOPs, y los directos, DOPs, siempre van blank el verbo. Well, listen to where it is and you tell me where you think it is. If you have my calculator and I say, dame la calculadora, where was the me? It was después del verbo. It was after the verb. Example, siéntate. Sienta, that's your command. It's reflexivo, and there's the te. It has to be attached at the end. Same thing, dime, tell me. Di is the command, tell, right? And then me, who do you want to tell? Tell me. Dime. The pronoun is attached to the end. But atención, cuando un pronombre es parte de un mandato afirmativo con más de 2 sílabas, when a pronoun is part of a command that's an affirmative command that has more than 2 syllables, necesitamos escribir un acento. We need to write an accent in there. Y contamos blank sílabas del final cuando hay un pronombre. Check it out. Give me the number here. Let's count the syllables. Una sílaba, and you always count from the far right last syllable. Una, dos, tres. Acento. Tres sílabas. We always count 3 syllables from the end when there's a pronoun. Okay? So, bárrelo. Uno, dos, tres. Sacude, dust, the furniture. Sacúdelos. Una sílaba, 2 sílabas, 3 sílabas. Una, dos, tres. I say 1, 2, 3, hit it. And that's how I know where to put the acento, ¿no? Contamos blank sílabas del final cuando hay 2 pronombres. So when you have 2 pronouns attached to the end, like not just dust it, but dust it for me, check it out. Bárremelo. Una, dos, tres, cuatro. So 1, 2, 3, 4, hit it. When you add 2 pronouns, you have to count back cuatro sílabas. That only happens when you're working with 2 pronouns, like dust it for me instead of just dust it. Same thing, instead of just barrelo, instead of just sweep it. The verb barrer means to sweep. When it's barremelo, 1, 2, 3, 4, hit it because you've added 2 pronouns, the me and the lo, to your command, barre. Same thing again, reviewing, sacudir. So dust the furniture for her. Instead of just sacúdelos, which means dust them, we're saying dust them for her. So una sílaba, 2 sílabas, 3 sílabas, 4 sílabas. Sacúdeselos. And your syllables are vowel syllables. You're counting vowels. So uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Sacúdeselos. And you put that accent. So remember, count back 3 syllables if there's 1 pronoun. Count back 4 syllables if there are 2 pronouns. Una nota. Note at the bottom, since we are counting syllables, not just vowels, make sure to count vowel combinations as seen in words like limpialo as 1 syllable. For example, there's your 1 syllable. Lo. IA is considered one syllable, not two separate syllables because of the diphthong of the two notes of the two letters together, and then 3. So limpialo, limpialo. If it were limpiamelo, if it looked like this, instead of just clean it, if it said clean it for me, we'd count back 1, 2, 3, 4 syllables, and your accent would go right here. Limpiamelo, because we added 2 pronouns, the me and lo, to the command limpia, clean. So clean it for me. Count back 4 syllables and place your accent if we have 2 pronouns. Count back 3 syllables and place your accent when you have only 1 pronoun. Ok, niños, jóvenes, muchísimas gracias por copiar los apuntes. Espero que haya sido un repaso. I hope that it's been a review from what you guys did last year, el año pasado. Ahora vamos a practicar en Kia, en Schoology, las cosas necesarias para mejor memorizar esta información. Por favor, vayan ahora a Schoology. Pueden trabajar individualmente o en grupitos. Por favor, usen los apuntes. Así que vamos a ir a Schoology. Hay 2 actividades que tienen que completar. Hay 2 actividades en Schoology que están en Kia. Muchísimas gracias por copiar los apuntes. Nos vemos muy pronto. Chao.